there's a certain stigma in law enforcement where you have to be tough and you can't talk about your feelings. Certainly when I started, when we went through a tragedy or a tragic incident, you just, you were told, hey, rub some dirt on it and move on. And that was because talking to a therapist, talking to a psych that had such a negative connotation to it, nobody wanted to be associated with that. You were looked down upon, you were looked as weak. And that's the stigma that nobody wants to talk about. Fast forward to today in 2024, we've thankfully gotten away from that. A lot of departments are actually working on wellness programs within their agency to make talking to therapists more commonplace, so there is no stigma attached to it. At my agency, for instance, we're working on a plan where an officer has to talk to a therapist at least twice a year, whether they want to or not. It can be simply as, hey, I have nothing to say to you. And that's fine, because we're making it normal to at least see a therapist, because there's going to be a handful of individuals that need to talk to a therapist. I had to talk to a therapist. In 2012, my dad committed suicide, and in 2015, my mom was murdered. Did I get any help with that? Sure, I had friends and family offer their support, but clinically, I didn't think anything was going on. I actually handled it pretty well, in my opinion. But what I actually did, now I know, I suppressed all that. And when you suppress it, you never know what triggers are going to release it. Fast forward a couple of years ago, we lost 2 officers to a tragic shooting at my department, and it brought back a lot of those feelings, and I was still in the practice of just suppressing it. But an interesting thing happened. We had therapists at our station. We had a whole cadre of therapists and psychologists that came, and we were part of breakout groups. And my first interaction with a therapist was sitting with a breakout group and listening. And I was quiet, but I saw people opening up and sharing their emotions, and it caused it to be viral. Everybody wanted to open up and share their emotions because they found it to be a safe environment. I didn't. I was still kind of locked into that mode where I just needed to be quiet and hold it in. Within a year after that, one of my best friends, who happened to be my chief of police, died tragically as well. And I think that was kind of the straw that broke the camel's back. I found myself recluse from my family, removed from wanting to do social activities. I just wanted to go home, watch TV, and it finally got to the point where my wife was like, something is up, something is going on, and I talked to her about it. I utilized the department resources that we had, and I talked to a therapist. And that first session, I was really skeptical. I was really guarded, but it was really comfortable. Even though the therapist later on told me she knew I was being guarded and not divulging everything, she just held back and offered to be an ear. And really, it was therapeutic. That's why they call it therapy. It was therapeutic for me to get that off my chest. The next session we did, I got a lot more off my chest. And every time I did that, there was weight coming off my shoulder. And that's why I can function today as a normal member of society. I think for certain, if I would have held that stuff in, it would have came out in an explosive way. This way, I'm releasing stuff inside of me that had been built up over those years, and I'm able to function. Then today, I'm functioning normal. No, my family's not telling me I'm recluse anymore. I'm doing those social things. I'm spending more time with my loved ones. And if really you care about the people that you love, you owe it to yourself to seek help if you need it. And trauma can be different from anybody. For me, it was very high trauma, high level trauma, but it can be a bunch of small things. Maybe you're in an argument with someone at work that's really causing some tension and anxiety, and you let those things out. You owe it to your family, you owe it to your partner, you owe it to your community, and most importantly, you owe it to yourself.